Welcome back to In Pursuit 360. Today, we're going to be talking about police officers, the good, the bad, and the ugly. All right, here we go. Welcome back to In Pursuit 360. Get a chance, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, mash the like button, the thumbs up, please. Leave me some comments down below. Speaking of comments, today's video is based off of comments that I received from a friend of mine who subscribes to the channel and called me up and wanting to let me know that he liked the video in reference to keeping your emotions in check. He did, however, comment that he thought it was kind of going to go in a different direction. He thought I was going to refer a lot more to the incident in Minneapolis. The word is today, the officer that had his knee down on the gentleman's neck was arrested today and charged with murder. So that's a good thing. But he thought I was going to delve more into that. And really the purpose of keeping your emotions in check was to let people know, soon-to-be police officers, officers that were out there, that you're going to deal with a lot of people who are going to test you. They're going to try to rile you. They're going to try to get that excessive force reaction out of you. With that being said, in answer to his question or in answer to his response when he called me, I am going to tell you, remember I said in the beginning, I will tell you the good, the bad, and the ugly about law enforcement. Are there bad officers out there? Yes. Is the badness based off racism? Some. Is the badness based off of they're just a bad person? Yes. Is the badness based off the fact that they have too much power and the power has corrupted them? What's the old saying? Power corrupts, absolute power corrupts absolutely. Yes. So there are some bad officers out there. But if you look at the almost 900,000 law enforcement officers that we have in this country, you're going to find that the greater percentage of them are good people, and they're out there trying to serve the community, and they're trying to do the job the right way. So with that being in mind, I'd like you to take about 3 minutes and listen to the following narration by Paul Harvey. Paul Harvey was around a while ago. Most of the younger people out there probably have never heard of him. But Paul Harvey did commentaries, narrations on topics. He was very eloquent and he spoke very, very well. And I think he cut right to the chase. In the following video clip, please listen carefully to the words. What is a policeman? Here you go.
Policeman. A policeman is a composite of what all men are, I guess, a mingling of saint and sinner, dust and deity. Called statistics, wave the fan over stinkers, underscore instances of dishonesty and brutality because they are news. What that really means is that they are exceptional, they are unusual, they are not commonplace. Buried under the froth is the fact. And the fact is that less than 0.5% of policemen misfit that uniform. And that is a better average than you'd find among clergymen. What is a policeman? He of all men is at once the most needed and the most wanted. A strangely nameless creature who is sir to his face and pig or worse behind his back. He must be such a diplomat that he can settle differences between individuals so that each will think he won, but if a policeman is neat, he's conceited. If he's careless, he's a bum. If he's pleasant, he's a flirt. If he's not, he's a grouch. He must make instant decisions which would require months for a lawyer, but if he hurries, he's careless. If he's deliberate, he's lazy. He must be first to an accident, infallible with a diagnosis. He must be able to start breathing, stop bleeding, tie splints, and above all, be sure the victim goes home without a limp or expect to be sued. The police officer must know every gun, draw on the run, and hit where it doesn't hurt. He must be able to whip two men twice his size and half his age without damaging his uniform and without being brutal. If you hit him, he's a coward. If he hits you, he's a bully. A policeman must know everything and not tell. He must know where all of the sin is and not partake. The policeman from a single human hair must be able to describe the crime, the weapon, the criminal, and tell you where the criminal is hiding. But if he catches the criminal, he's lucky. If he doesn't, he's a dunce. If he gets promoted, he has a political pull. If he doesn't, he's a dullard. The policeman must chase bum leads to a dead-end, stake out 10 nights to tag one witness who saw it happen but refuses to remember. He runs files and writes reports until his eyes ache to build a case against some felon who will get dealed out by a shameless Seamus or an honorable who isn't honorable. The policeman must be a minister, a social worker, a diplomat, a tough guy, and a gentleman. And of course he'll have to be a genius because he'll have to feed a family on a policeman's salary.
Okay, so I think Paul Harvey covered that pretty well. He talks about less than 0.5% of law enforcement officers have issues. Out of 900,000, that's a pretty good number. And he even makes the reference that there are fewer bad cops than there are bad clergy. Now, I don't know what those percentages are. I don't know what the numbers are. That was his narration. But most police officers are out there to do the right thing. Now, if you go back and look at Minneapolis, they've charged the officer who was actually kneeling on his neck with murder. The reason that they did not charge him right away is you have to think about the big picture. So, did he cause the death? Well, what the gentleman died for or from, they couldn't tell until a coroner's report came out. Could he have had an underlying health condition? Could there have been something else that contributed to it? The video made it very clear that his knee being on his neck is a pretty good chance that that's what caused it. But the department fired him right away, fired the other 3 officers that were there, and then let the medical people get a hold of it to come out with their report. Once it came out that it was murder, they had no problem charging him. But this is how the system works. Now, you may not think it works fast enough, but remember that in law enforcement, the use of force case law says what is objectively reasonable at that time. So you're not allowed to look backwards and armchair quarterback and say, he shouldn't have done that. I would have never done that. Well, you weren't there. You weren't in that scenario. So you have to let the system work. Does it work a little bit differently with some of the law enforcement cases? Yes, but there's a reason for it. It's not that we are not willing to police our own. It's not that we're not willing to put our own people in jail if they break the law. We are. And in cases where it happens right there, it's crystal clear, and all the evidence is right there in front of you, yes, we'll do it right then and there. But in this case, all we had was the phone video that picked up later. We have no idea what led up to that. We have no idea why the other 3 officers were just standing there. It almost appears to me that whatever happened initially, it looks like a crowd started to appear and the other 3 officers went out for crowd control. That's just my guess. I wasn't there either, so I don't know. But I'm sure that's something that they're looking at as to whether or not they're going to charge the other 3. Now, at this point, I don't know. They haven't charged them yet. They may. They may charge them as accessories. They may charge them with manslaughter because they did not stop that officer. It is officers' responsibility to keep other officers in check. A good example, we had a case, we got into a long vehicle pursuit one night when I was with the sheriff's office, and we chased the guy from the south end of the county all the way to the north end of the county on the back roads and everything else, and we ended up boxing him in and stopping him in a major intersection in the middle of the road. We get him out of the car, get him cuffed, stick him in the back seat. There's another deputy that runs up, opens the door, and starts yelling at him. We got you, didn't we? We got you. I pulled him back and shut the door, and I told him, I was like, what are you doing? He's caught, he's handcuffed, he's in the back of the car, it's over. Let it go. Well, that's what you have to do. If you see, in that video, when you watch it, you can see the one officer who apparently is there for crowd control. When the guy's saying, I can't breathe, he turns back and he looks. And he sees that officer with his knee in that guy's neck. He should have right there at that moment gone back there and said, dude, you need to let him up. You need to roll him over. Get your knee off of his neck. There are red, yellow, and green areas on the body that every law enforcement officer is taught about. Red areas are, if you strike those, they're known as deadly force areas. The neck is one of them. The neck is a red zone. He should have never had his knee on his neck that way. Once he was under control and cuffed, he should have been put in a position of disadvantage if there was a problem or if they're waiting for a car. I don't know what they were waiting for. I don't know why he sat there that long. But he should have put him in a position of disadvantage where he was able to breathe. And if he was complaining of a medical condition, he should have gotten a medical aid right away, immediately. Doesn't matter what he's done. Doesn't matter how many people he hurt. Doesn't matter. Once somebody is in custody, remember I told you in the other video, we are not judge, jury, and executioner. Once the person is caught and they're secured, then it's our job to take care of them. Yes, we have to render aid to the bad guy. We have to secure the bad guy. We have to protect the bad guy. If we catch somebody that just murdered 4 people and we get them cuffed and the crowd wants to come in and lynch him, we have to fight off that crowd. We have to protect the bad guy, which is what they failed to do. So, are there some bad cops out there? Yes. But don't let one incident tarnish the rest of the career field. You cannot let that one incident make every officer out there seem like they're bad, because they're not. So, just some food for thought. Play the video back again. Listen to Paul Harvey and what he has to say. I think he really sums it up perfectly as to what we do out on the street every day. So, keep it in mind, subscribe, hit the like button, leave some comments down below, and I'll see you next time on In Pursuit 360. Be safe out there.